Squirrels! So hello, and welcome to another Legends of Runeterra video. My name is Chris, and well, you're getting this video because I tried to record a video that I might do in the future, so I won't spoil it, but essentially I just spoke into this microphone for 50 minutes, and then at the end realized that my microphone was turned on, but for some reason was not working. So that is obviously a great feeling, because for 50 minutes, I've just wasted my life and my time. So what I thought I would do instead is look at some rework suggestions from people and talk about, you know, the things that they suggest for the game and see if I agree, disagree, etc., etc. You get the point. So, this person has tried to rework some of the copy archetype, or I guess create a copy archetype with some of these cards, because they don't really have that. So let's read some of these cards. So we got counterfeit copies over here. 1 mana burst speed still. Pick a card in hand. Create 3 exact copies of it in your deck and 1 in your hand. Well, this would be a more interesting, way of doing that. But of course, I mean, this card would of course be like broken beyond belief. But let's just assume that they made this a reasonable mana cost instead. Would this be a better way of doing things? So you have to pick a card in hand, right? So basically you're going to get the second copy of a certain card. So it'll work very well. Obviously with like Charian Sunworker would be probably the main way you would use this. Again, this cannot cost 1 mana. Like 1 mana to copy a card in your hand. You could do some very, as I just said, Charian Sunworker is the one that comes to mind. It's within Piltover and Zorn as well. But I'm sure there's some other things you can do as well with copying a certain card. And so you're not even trading a card. You're paying 1 mana to potentially get an insane effect out of it. And so, yeah. Time Bombs would be another nice one. I do like the idea. I just don't think that it could cost 1 mana. It would be like 2 or 3 or something like that. Right? And I think that this card would probably be a lot better in terms of, going for that. Obviously, Go Hard would be another one now that I think about it as well. Getting off that second Go Hard very early would be nice. So, yeah. I like the idea. Obviously, there would need to be some balance tweaks. But, yeah, I like the idea that this is a card that I think, would make sense. Let's go to Academy Prodigy, because it looks like a lot has changed here. We're still a 2 mana card, but a 2 mana 2/2 and not a 3/1. When I'm summoned, grant allied Academy Prodigies impact everywhere. Oh, wait, and does this mean that this would stack? See, this is the kind of thing that, when I first saw impact the keyword, this is the kind of thing that I was expecting, impact to get. When they said it could stack, I think this is the kind of ability that I would expect. And I wouldn't be shocked if there is a card like this that comes out in the future. I'm not sure it's very... Well, I guess there is cards with impact in Piltover and Zorn already, but I would think that there would be better things to do with it. But this is a really cool design. I think there would be better regions for this effect, but I guess there's the, what is it called? Furious Faefolk, I think, has impact, right? So I guess impact can go in Piltover and Zorn. We've already seen that. So yeah, this makes a lot of sense. This would be a very, very good change, to a card that is kind of useless. So yeah, this would be a really nice little change to this kind of card. This is a really good idea. I literally could see them literally writing this almost word for word on a card someday. Parade Electro Rig, 3 mana 2/4 still with support. Create 4 of the supported ally in your deck and draw 1 copy of it. Again, balance might be a bit of a problem here. Like, a 3 mana 2/4 that draws you a card. Like, and it's probably gonna, not that many things have 4 attack on turn 3. So this is probably gonna draw you 2 cards, and like drawing 2 cards is really strong for 3 mana, like a body as well. Like, yeah. So balance things aside, let's take a look at it, because I don't think balance is like the key thing, but this would be broken, I think. So drawing a copy of it. I mean, it would make more sense as a card. I think the only problem is really the balance side of this, but I do think that this kind of effect does make a lot more sense. I think either you would have to make this like a 3 mana, like 2/3, or like even maybe a 2/2, or like a 4 mana, like Is 3/4 too good? Maybe like a 4 mana 2/4. You know, something in that range, just to allow your opponent to be able to pretty easily pick this off. Because if this thing gets protected and gets to attack multiple times, like drawing like 2 or 3 cards from a 3 mana card with a body is like really, really good. So yeah, this I'd like the idea. Again, it does make a lot more sense than just creating the copies, like that kind of thing, you know, or it could be like, you know, move it to the top or something like that, you know, like so that you could use this in combination some way. But I do like the kind of direction that this is heading in. And this one I'm kind of excited about because it's Golden Crushbot, but it's a 7 mana card. And all of a sudden it's changed rarity as well. I feel like Golden Crushbot is not an epic. But here we go. 7 mana 4/7. Pick a card in hand. Deal damage to the enemy next as equal to the amount of copies in your deck. I mean, that's a really cool kind of design. So you have to have a card in hand, right? So you have to have one of them in hand, and you deal damage to the enemy nexus equal to the amount of copies in your deck. Is there any way to, like, cheese this? Like, obviously, you would, like, you know, use the copy cards. Like, obviously, go hard would be maybe a bit of a problem off the start. Yeah, go hard would seem like a pretty nasty way. This might need to be a bit higher in mana cost. Because like if you imagine a go hard deck with like the catalog of regrets, and like you just have your entire deck built around like go hard, and if like imagine if these were the cards as well, you know, that you were using, so you could just play like many go hards and then get maybe even 2 of the thing off. Like this would just kill people straight up on the spot, and then you know you would be in Shadow Isles, so you could probably find a copy of this. You know, you could probably like Fading Memories this or something, and then just play it again, and then just, you know, deal a ton of damage to them. Isn't there that what is it, that meme card as well, the Invoke one? I can't even think of what it's called, but doesn't that put like 20 copies of the same card in your deck? Is it 20 copies? It puts a lot of like the same card in your deck, right? So wouldn't that just kill them? If that is the case, then obviously this wouldn't pass the smell test, because that would probably be broken. But it's an interesting design. As I say, I think there's probably one too many problems with it. I don't know how you'd balance that, but I kind of like the idea. Okay, so this person has redesigned some kind of landmark effect and added on like this word extend. And extend gives you extra board space. Now you can have +1 more unit landmark on the board. And I think the idea behind this is obviously to give landmark cards, you know, not have to sacrifice their blockers, essentially, which is kind of an interesting idea. Obviously, do you need to have extend? I mean, you could just make landmarks not take up a board space, but is that too good? I guess doing this allows you to balance it more uniquely, right? Like you're not going to give everyone the advantage of having just landmarks be good. You're going to only put it on certain cards like the sort of landmark cards, but they have changed Zerath to a 5 mana 3/4, which is a bit odd. Now he deals 2 to the weakest enemy. So they've changed Zerath a lot. I'm not sure why, because I think Zerath, you know, is probably fine as he is. But the keyword extend, quite interesting. So Ziggs would have extend as well. Talia would. And Malphite as well. So yeah, the idea is to give these champions a way of, you know, still having board space. I think this affects certain ones more than others. For instance, like Talia copies one, so that kind of feels like it's pretty big. Malphite, I don't think it affects as much, although it could do in certain situations. Like Ziggs, if you want to play like Ziggs really aggressively, you might want the board space. So that could be a thing as well. Zerath, I don't think it affects too much, or, you know, though it would be nice in certain situations. I guess when you go for like a what's it called, desert naturalist, and try and destroy like a landmark to summon the 5/4, sometimes you can run out of board space. So overall, I kind of like the idea, and I definitely prefer this than like just saying that, you know, landmarks don't take up a board space, you know, and have their own kind of board space. I definitely prefer this so that you can kind of more uniquely like tweak these kind of things. I do think that that would be a better idea than just giving landmarks, you know, no downside. And we have a Lux rework here, so 6 mana 5/6. So this is the leveled up Lux here. So when you cast 6+ mana of spells, so the same thing. Create a final spark in hand. Your damage spells have overwhelm. So all your damage spells have overwhelm. Wow, okay, so that would obviously go... Does this work with Drain, I guess? So that, like, you know, going for like a Grasp of the Undying, if it hits something with 2 health, would deal 1 to the enemy nexus. I think that's probably the case. And if so, this would be obviously a big change to Lux and would probably help Lux in a lot of ways, because now you have a lot of reasons to actually build around Lux. I kind of really like this idea. Yeah, this feels like a pretty unique, kind of cool idea that now allows you to actually build around Lux. Thermo Beam might be a bit of a problem, now that I think about it. Like, you play Lux on 6, let's say you've got the full 10 mana in hand, you 10 mana Thermo Beam, like something with 1 health, it deals 9 to your opponent. You also then get the final spark, you kill another one, let's say, you know, you deal 2 from that. So you're dealing 11 damage, plus you have a 5/6, you know, and maybe other units as well. Thermo Beam might be a bit of an issue with this, I think. But other than that, you know, maybe, right? I think if you did this just simply because of Thermo Beam, you might need to like take some stats away from Lux. You know, whether it's an attack or something, you know, you might need to readdress some other aspects of the balance, because Thermo Beam, you know, for a 1 mana card to be like dealing like 9 damage to you, that's not gonna feel great. Particularly with, like, if you have to try and remove something with 6 health, that's not gonna feel great. Okay, another little Lux redesign, it looks like. So we're changing Prismatic Barrier, and we are giving an ally barrier this round. If you have a Lux, create a fleeting Prismatic Barrier in hand. Wow, that's kind of cool. Oh, that works beautifully, of course, because then you would play the first one, you'd play the second one, it would level up Lux straight away. Fleeting, this I think is the best idea so far. Like, that I think balance-wise is perfect. There's nothing off the top of my head that would make this broken, because you have to have a Lux. Yeah, this is just perfect, right? This has to be just perfect. Obviously, it's Lux's champion spell anyway. It is Lux's champion spell. Would that be broken? No, because you need multiple units to actually get use of it. Otherwise, you're just paying 3 mana to essentially get a final spark, which obviously can be pretty good sometimes. But yeah, this is the kind of thing that I think makes a lot more sense. And this is a really nice change, right? Like a buff to a champion that isn't even direct necessarily. I guess it kind of is because it's the champion spell, but you know, it's not actually on the champion card itself, but actually would be a really cool design. Yeah, I really kind of like this. This is a very good idea. Bolts of Helios, I'm very interested for this one to see what this is. So, still 5 mana landmark. So, round start. If you can, kill your most expensive ally to summon an ally from your deck that costs 1 more. So, I'm pretty sure that's the same. If you do that, summon a Mistwraith and set it at 2/2. Grant it Ephemeral. You also get like a 2/2 Mistwraith. I guess the idea would be that they would still buff the other Mistwraiths, but they'd be 2/2s instead. But that they would buff the other ones. I'm assuming that must be the kind of idea behind this. Otherwise, you know, it's a bit random. What do we think about this? Well, obviously it is an improvement to Vaults of Helios, which, like, it's a really cool card. And I think a lot of people, like, would love this to work as an idea because it's really kind of cool, but obviously kind of doesn't. You know, it's far too slow. And, like, you have to have, like, this perfect curve of doing all these different things. This would help in some way. But I'm not sure that it would really change that much, because it's still a 5 mana landmark that you have to have like this perfect little setup for this to start working, right? Like, this needs to be reduced in cost, I think, by quite a lot for you to actually start getting a lot of like value from it. Because otherwise you're just kind of like, you know, you have to have this like perfect curve, and you have to have like the right units on the board in the right order, and then, you know, it all has to work perfectly. And it just doesn't. I think there's a lot of things that could change with Vaults of Helios. Things like, you know, if your most expensive ally like is the most expensive one in the deck, it then goes to search for the second one to see if it can summon another one of the most expensive one. You know what I mean? Like it goes back if it can't work, and it keeps going down on the units if it can't work. I think things like that would be more useful. I think things like having it cost less mana would be more useful than this. I guess there is some synergy to this. I guess you could try Mistrates with it, but I'm not sure that it would really work, to be honest. And now we have a Ripper's Bay change. So another landmark change, another landmark that doesn't really see much play. So still a 1-mana landmark. When allies attack, before Lurk tries to activate, replace the top card of your deck with a random card with Lurk if it doesn't have Lurk. I mean, I guess this could be quite interesting, to be honest, because couldn't you put, like, just one card with Lurk in there? And it'd be some kind of, like, tutor for a certain card? I'm not sure if that's really worth it, but, like, could you use it with Pike and, like, you know, you just have Pike is your only Lurk card, right? So you attack and you get a Pike on the top of your deck. And then you activate Pike and you get Pike's spell. So you have, like, a 4-mana, you know, fast speed, deal 3 to anything and summon a unit, which is actually pretty good. And then you can draw like the second Pike the next time you attack as well. That would buff the Pike. Okay, this might work. Initially, when I first read it, I was like, does that really change anything? But now I'm starting to think like you could use this as a tutor for Pike. You could make a Pike deck with this that is like outside of normal Lurk, which is quite interesting. It's kind of fascinating. I kind of hope this would be a good change for that reason alone, right? That you wouldn't be forced. I think it's only Pike. I don't think Rek'Sai would work because obviously you need to increase the attack of Rek'Sai. You want Lurk all the time, right? But you could use this as a tutor. So you just have Ripper's Bay and Pike. And then every time you attack, you're going to draw Pike. And Pike's attack is going to increase because you're hitting the Lurk each time, I think, on Pike, right? So you're going to get Pike spells over and over again. So you're going to end up with 3 Pike spells. Is that too broken, though? To just give yourself no, like, guaranteed Pike spells? I don't think it is. I don't think that's that crazy, is it? But maybe it is, because Pike's level up is just insane. I don't know. It would be interesting at the very least. I kind of like it. I don't even know if it would be broken or not, what I'm suggesting there. But it'd be interesting at least, you know? So yeah, I'm kind of, this is very intriguing. At first I was like, this is still got kind of a lot of the same problems that you're paying 1 mana to, like, you know, not do that much. But as a specific tutor, that's kind of interesting, especially with Pike. So yeah, pretty good. And that will be all for today. So yes, as I said, sorry that I couldn't make the video I wanted to and spoke for 50 minutes just rambling, going on, and you know, to no avail. But thank you so much for watching. Have a really nice day, and I will be back tomorrow. So I will see you then.